Did you look around before you entered here today? This place has potential, don't you think? Can you imagine? In a few years from now, this place could be turned into this. I'm an architect, and I'd like to tell you how we have made plans for transforming this industrial site into a new small city. The site is here, where you are now. We are now in one of the large halls in Pussnes. The history of Pussnes, as you've heard, go way back in time. Skilsø used to be an island, but got connected to Trondheim as the ship industry was booming and they needed more land for shipyards. Later, there has been different kind of productions, cast iron ovens, and until recently, mechanical industry supplying ships and oil platforms with winches. I'm going to tell you about the project we've been working on for the last 8 years. Starting in 2015, we started creating a plan for how to transform this into a future place for living and working, a small hub, a small city on this island. I myself grew up outside Arendal, and it's really intriguing to get the chance to pose ideas for this kind of great site. Hopefully the project will be a success, and I'll be able to walk the streets of Arendal also in the future. So this is our vision for this place. We have seen many seaside projects turning into quiet residential areas, lacking life. Most places for elderly or the more privileged part of the population. So our goal is to create more diversity. We want to make homes in different sizes and types for different people with who are in different stages of life. So all kind of people can live here throughout their lives. We want to create spaces for people to interact. But in addition to that, we also would like Pussnes to be a destination. Not only for the people living here, but also for visitors. At Pussnes, in the future, you should go to have fun, go swimming, do activities by the sea, get something to eat, in addition to living here. Our goal is to create a small city with all the iconical charm, like, for instance, Arendal. Pussnes' main building will be restored, put into new use, will be a great value to this project. We also create some principles to follow. The waterfront has been inaccessible for too long, so we want to give the public access to the waterfront. So, by establishing a pathway all along the sea, it will be possible to walk around the site in the future. We also create a visible connection from Pussnes Pollen, as we call it, to Fjellvig, the opposite bay, as a reference to the time when there was water dividing the islands. We based the layout of the place on an old principle you find in coastal cities, like for instance Grimstad, where buildings tend not to be in a straight line along the streets, but placed more randomly, creating narrow spaces and more open places for people to meet. This is different from a typical grid city. We also do hope that the ferry will move its landing to Pussnes again, and we created some simple patterns for movement from the ferry dock to the Pussnes main building to Fjellvig, all connected in the center by the plaza, the meeting point. We want to create places for people to meet with neighbors and visitors. To make this happen, we believe it's important not to spread out, but to focus activity to certain streets and places. So, how do we get people to meet? We could be the bar. People meet in bars, and we name it the Winch, of course. Yeah, but I think we need more than a bar. So, who could we ask for ideas? We asked the kids. Why not? So, we did. We visited a local school and asked them what they wanted this place to be. And we invented the Pussnes game, as we call it, as a fun way to get some answers from them. And they came up with some really good answers. They would like to have places to meet, like dance studios, bowling halls, shops. And they also came up with some less good ideas, like strip club. Well, kids are playful. We think Pussnes needs a main street, a pedestrian street, of course. So we suggest what we have called an axis of activity. A street from where you enter your apartment, but you also find shared indoor spaces facing the streets, where you can see different kinds of activities going on. People fixing their old wooden boats, passing on the craftsmanship to the next generation, fixing bicycle, or you can have find a room to arrange your birthday party if you don't have enough space in your own apartment. Of course, if you don't like meeting people, you can always find somewhere else to go in the area. To make Pussnes a vital city, it's also important to have some shops, we think. And to make it more likely that they will survive over time, it's also important to place them in this street of activity. Getting people to meet and interact will prevent loneliness, which is a challenge nowadays. This is a nice view, I think. Don't you think? Probably everybody does. And we like sea view, but usually you have to pay extra to get sea view, right? This is an example of from Las Palmas, a bit crowded in the front. Tall buildings blocking the view for the buildings in the back. And this creates a big difference in value between the front row and the following rows of buildings. The front row blocking the view towards the sea. So we want to approach this for Pussnes in another way, putting as much quality as possible into all the buildings. So we have suggested low buildings in front, increasing by steps as you get further back. And by doing this, we create some very good apartments in all the buildings in the area. So you will have a more diverse group of people living in the same building from different economic classes, meeting each other in the hallway and getting to know each other. In our plan for Pussnes, we have narrow streets and passages, giving room for views and access to the sea. By doing that, we think we raise the overall quality of the flats and outdoor space in the area. And we suggest to use picket fences to make a distinct border between what's private and public. We think this is a good way to secure that the people will find it natural to use the narrow pathways without feeling that they are trespassing private property. That was some of our visions for this new city, as we call it. Pussnes is going to be developed over time by many different people. So we hope the principles we have put into this plan will make it a great city in the future, where different kind of people can live with all their different needs throughout their lives. And I hope to be back in 10 years from now to see this have happened. Thank you.